Hey girl, hey everyone, good morning. Guys, I feel like we're in a routine now. We record every Friday morning, so whenever you hear this, it's a Friday, but it's been a week, man. I went out last night and I haven't done that in so long.
And you made it
Girl,
to this meeting.
I know.
To this
Bro,
recording session.
guys, I just said to Maggie, let me send you the pitch rather than the script, and now she's calling it a meeting. Look at us, we're already now working. We're already ready to start the day.
Listen, I've had a meeting this morning.
Oh my god, yeah. When you text me that, wait, what? Why?
Because the people are based in Thailand, so they needed to have. This is what I mean. I'm always having these early morning meetings.
Yeah, sorry. I've had 8 a.m. meetings, but anything before that is wild.
Girl, the worst was 5 a.m. That was with Australia. I never did that again. Like, it's never that deep.
No, that's wrong.
Yeah, but tell me about your night out yesterday.
Oh no, do you know what, Mickey? It weren't even a big one like that. So we're leaving offices, we're moving offices, I'm moving to the city, which is brilliant for my commute. So I actually don't go into the West End anymore, but it was like our farewell to our West End office. So I went to see like everyone that I don't get to really see anymore. And I was like, okay, I'm going to leave at 8:30 because from that office, it takes me an hour and a half to get home. So I was like, if I leave at 8:30, I'll be home by 10, which is reasonable.
Oh, sorry, you're doing commutes like me these days. You live so far.
Yes, it really impacts me because if I'm being real, on a night out, usually as soon as I get tired, or it's not even a night out, but if I go out after work for a drink, if I get tired, I'd always just get a taxi home. It's like 20 quid from central London to my parents' house.
Yeah, you can't do that no more, darling.
I checked, it was £77, then it went up to 111. I said,
no.
I love my house, but I'm sorry, this commute is not it.
Yeah.
But it's fine because we're moving to the city, so it'll be better. But yeah, I think I had like 4 glasses of wine, but I was also drinking water in between. So I felt shattered. And we went for dinner. Do you know when you get to that level of tipsy, yeah? Where you're like, no, I need to eat. I don't know if it's tipsy.
Yes. Yes, of course.
So we went to Mercato, which, have you heard of Mercato?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's this, it's like, I feel like it's a converted church. And it has basically, it's a food hall. But it's really nice.
I have heard of it. I've been there.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, me too.
Girl, I got myself a cacio de pepe, however you say it. I'm there eating my pasta. Then I was like, no, I bet you're still hungry. I went and got myself a whole pizza, ate my pizza.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I think that saved me though. But then it gets worse. So I'm on my way home, and obviously I've got an hour and a half commute. I'm shattered. Billy, bless his cotton socks, booked me a taxi so they would be arranged to pick me up at the station at the right time and get me home safely.
Love that.
A bitch fell asleep on the train. God was on my side because so I'm on the train and it's only 22 minutes because I got on from Stratford and I fell asleep and I wake up, Mickey, there's a man next to me because the train is busy. It's a Thursday night, isn't it? And I'm like this to the man next to me, leaning on his shoulder. So embarrassing. I was like, my head was like this. I wasn't quite touching him, thank God, because that is so embarrassing. It's so rude. Like, I'm invading someone's personal space.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I was like, oh my God, I looked at him, and I just got up and like shuffled over a bit and fell back to sleep. And it just so happened that he was getting off at my stop. And he had to wake me up. And he was like, excuse me, I need to get off. And these women were looking at me laughing. So I don't know if I leaned on him or what, because they were laughing at me.
And then you had your mouth cocked open and everything.
So embarrassing. And then I'm like, oh, he's getting off. I looked out and I'm like, oh, this doesn't look like my stop. And then I hear, this is Billericay. And I was like, oh, I need to get off. So I jumped off and got off. So lucky. I could have ended up in Southend.
Oh my God, you're so lucky. You're so lucky.
God was on my side. I was like, do you know what? Thank you, Lord.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
But yeah, so I'm not glad I'm feeling it today. I don't want to work. I have so much to do. And I just want to sleep. I feel exhausted.
Girl, me and you both. I really understand. I'm just like, I just need a lion. Like, I just need a lion.
Amen. How was your week, darling?
It was good. I spoke on a panel this week.
Oh my God. Was it good? What was the topic?
It was about renewable energy. It was interesting. It's actually quite a nice full circle moment because it's the first panel that I ever did.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
And
That's so nice.
they invited me back last year, but I couldn't go because I went to Philippines,
I
remember?
remember. Yeah.
So then they invited me back again. I was like, wow,
Smashing it. Sorry.
I
In
know.
demand. I love
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, no, it went fine. It's just really interesting because this weekend, like, I was really social. Like, I was
Yeah.
with my friends for like the whole weekend, which was lovely. Like, had such a good time.
Yeah.
But it meant that, like, I don't know what's happening to me. I just, when I got to also, I was really tired. Like, I was really exhausted. But when I got to the event, I was just like, I just can't be asked to speak to anyone. Like, I don't want
Some
to network
days,
with anyone. And yeah, some days are just like that.
yeah, your body's just like, not today, man.
It was just like, Um, but like, I had lunch and like spoke to people during lunch, and then I spoke to someone after my panel, like blah blah blah. And I was like, I'm out. I am going home. Like, I did not stay for the whole time. But also it was because like the people that were there weren't that relevant to the
Yeah.
work that I'm doing at the moment. And then the next day I had another conference that I wasn't speaking at, but
Bloody hell,
another
busy.
conference nonetheless. And I was like, okay now. But on the plus side, it has meant that the week has gone really quickly.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Um, but yeah, also, sorry, I have to show you. Look at this plant pot that I got on the weekend. It's a lipstick.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Right.
Where did you get that from?
Some random shop. Like, you know, like those like tiger like shops where they just sell random shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
But
it. That looks so good.
yeah, no, but that's been my week basically, buying a plant pot and conferences.
Girl, that sounds fantastic. I'm on the hunt for a plant pot. I've got a plant that's been with no pot for like over a month, so.
Do you know what? TK Maxx is really good for like really just nice. They have like quirky stuff, but they also have like really nice, just like beautiful pots.
That is a shout.
Hmm.
Yeah, a cheeky home sense and a TK Maxx.
Oh,
Put it on my list.
stop it! I love it. And put a cheeky B&M in there as well.
Sold.
That's my weekend.
Girl, honestly, like, I've told you this time and time again, I've always been like this. But usually, I'd book up my weekends and I'd be like, Billy, we're doing this. Like, my sisters, we're doing this. We're going here. I want to do this. I want to go out for dinner. I want to go out for lunch. Blah, blah, blah. Girl, I'm with you with the lions, stuff like that. Usually I'd be like, I need to wake up early on a Saturday morning, start my day. Now I'm like, nah, Billy, let's lay in bed until 12. Let's just chill the frick out. Let's just enjoy. I said, I don't want to do anything on my weekends. Nothing at all, apart from clean my house and watch movies.
This is the thing. So this weekend, I've literally kept, like, tonight I'm going out for dinner. I'm doing a Galentine's, actually.
Cute.
But for the single gals. But this weekend, I'm like, I'm not booking anything.
No.
I'm literally cleaning the yard and
Amen.
sleeping and watching films. That's it. I'm not doing anything else.
Girl, it hits differently. I did that last weekend. So last weekend was my first weekend and I said, no, I'm doing nothing. It was phenomenal. I mean, I did deep clean my house, so the whole of Saturday was spent cleaning. But 10 out of 10, and I felt refreshed on Monday. I didn't feel like I was dying as much as I usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need that. I need that for real. Especially, I have to go into the office on Monday.
Oh.
I'm going for an in-person meeting with someone that I met in the Philippines, actually, who's visiting London.
Oh, lovely.
But he knows my CEO, so he invited the CEO to the meeting. I was like, kill myself. So yeah, I need to be refreshed on Monday. So I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Good idea. Yeah, Friday night going out is perfect. That's perfect. Because you get your little, like, your cup is full from seeing your friends, doing stuff, and then you've got some downtime.
Yes. Amen.
Good luck, though. Damn. These people with their Monday morning meetings, sort it out.
In the office as well, as if you're dragging me out of my house like this.
It's just, can I just say, yeah. So at drinks yesterday, guys, I have a mixed reputation at work. When all positive. When I first started, I was in 5 days a week. I was the first person in. I was the last person to leave. Everyone knew me. Like, I was a goody two-shoes. And I think that was essential to, like, learn as much as I have. Ratata. Don't regret it at all.
Ratatata.
So I'm in the ghetto. So people like think I'm mad hardworking. Not even think, I am mad hardworking. Like,
You
I'll
are,
own
yeah.
that. Yeah. Which is fantastic though, that people recognise that and it's nice. But since I joined my new team in May, I don't come into the office half as much. And I still work long hours, but not always, because I have better work-life balance and I obviously know more shit now, so I'm having to research less, blah, blah, blah. And I was talking to the guy who heads up like my whole division. So I have like my manager, then my manager's manager, then a manager, then him. So he's like quite senior. And he was talking about our team and how our team are never in, because it's solo work. You work on projects by yourself. It's not really collaborative. You don't need to be in. And he was like, yeah, but you two, to me and this girl who's also just joined the team, he was like, yeah, you guys hold down the fort. You're always in, aren't you? And I was like, people come up to me every day like, Ellie, where have you been? You're never in anymore. And I'm like, if the head thinks I'm in, I'm doing something right.
You're probably in when he's in, so he thinks you're in all the time.
Yeah, I'm smashing it. And yesterday, even though I was tipsy, as was everyone, so it was fine, I was in a really good mood, and obviously I love my team. So when I was talking to him, I was just like, yeah, my team are amazing, my team are this. And he was like, I'm so glad you're happy.
Oh, good.
Because obviously he had to help facilitate my move, the drama that I caused. So yeah, I was like, oh, go me. At least I was positive for once.
Yes.
But yeah, man, I feel like that leads us quite nicely into our poll about being in the office or not. And guys, I've got a special in this week's episode of Being a Dumb Bitch for you that I'll save for the end of the episode because I'm not ready. PTSD.
No, I can't wait for this one. So I don't know if I haven't watched one of these episodes in ages, but did you ever used to watch the BBC Panorama episodes?
I used to bloody love those.
Me too.
I did not know they were still going. They were banging.
Yes, they are still going. And I rediscovered it literally this week. I was like, wait, there's hundreds of episodes for me to catch up on. Like, I'm so glad they used to watch it because I wasn't sure if you were going to relate or not.
No,
I love it too.
And do you know what? It's like, I don't like watching the news. I find that really depressing, and I find a lot of it irrelevant. Like, I'd rather watch something on economics or something like that I'm going to learn from. But I feel like Panorama keeps you in the know while still keeping it interesting.
It keeps it interesting. I trust the source. It's not salacious. Like, it's just, I love it. So go check out BBC iPlayer because they've got so many episodes there. But they basically did an episode on working from home because the government is trying to pass a bill on making working from home more flexible for people. So allowing employees to choose their working from home instead of having employers forcing people to come into the office. So there was a whole episode on it.
I'm going to have to watch this at my mum's house. You have to watch it. I don't have a TV license. Side note, go on.
So, okay, it was actually really interesting because obviously I work from home. So for me, I have a very positive perspective on it, and we can talk about that in a bit. But it gave like a really balanced argument on both sides, which I hadn't ever considered. So it was saying about, in terms of what it's doing to the economy, there's currently 121 million square feet vacant in London because of lack of office space. So that's around 5 billion in lost income from the commercial the commercial.
From people not leasing offices, basically.
Yes. Leasing. Yeah. That's the word I was looking for. From the leasing space, which is mad. Like, I didn't know.
That is mad.
That's actually quite a lot. And then it also interviewed like cafes and dry cleaners and stuff who rely on the footfall for people to buy their coffees in the morning. And there was this one cafe owner who was saying, like, most of our footfall is Tuesday to Thursday, so we have to make our money in those 3 days in the week where it didn't used to be like that. And he was saying, like, my business might not survive this. It was like an independent cafe. And I was like, gosh, I never thought about that. And the dry cleaner as well was saying that there's less footfall in the city, so that means there's less people coming in because they have more time to do their own dry cleaning at home and things like that.
I feel like it's hard on that point because those businesses are suffering, but how is that impacting like your local coffee shop on your high street? Because
do people go out in their local coffee shop on their high street?
I don't live near the high street, so I don't. But I know, like, my sister and her husband, every day they'll go out and get a coffee. And, like, they'll spend so much money. Yeah, they spend so much money on their high street. Like, they're proper.
But they have a good man
townies.
high street. Is it the one that I went to?
Yes. Yeah,
they have a good high street. Like,
the high street is top notch. I'm not like, if I lived that close to the high street, I would also be on the high street every day.
No, same.
So I think it depends. And also with the office space, I don't work in offices, but like how much of those offices are poor stock that's actually not lettable anymore? How much of that have they included? Because whenever I speak to someone in offices, not that it's really my forte, it doesn't interest me too tough, but they always talk about the fact that everyone's moving towards that, like the sustainable assets, the stuff with like BREEAM or all of that. What do you call them? Sustainable certifications. That's it.
Yeah.
So all the other offices that don't have that suffer. So it's like, what percentage of that is skewed towards it just not being appropriate for use?
I love that you bring that up, because I would never think of that, because it's not.
I think it's just because people talk about it at work all the time. But I'm so pro working from home. But the coffee shop thing is true. That's mental. How can people sustain?
And they were saying that this I found shocking, because you know how I feel about the TFL.
Yeah.
Apparently, the TFL use has dropped by 17% compared to before pandemic times, from Monday to Friday, and they haven't generated as much revenue. So the government have actually had to step in to give them funding because of the lack of footfall. I'm like, that's insane. But then I was like, I think that it's packed because I'm only traveling from Tuesday to Thursday. So that's the only time that I see it.
Yeah. To be fair, I would have thought it would be more than 17%. That's not that much. Like, pre-pandemic, obviously we weren't travelling, but I remember I used to work in Canary Wharf at Boots. And obviously Canary Wharf was like the business district pre-pandemic. And I used to have to queue for the train, and you would never get on the first train because I worked stupid 2 till 6 shift. So I was with the business people.
Yeah.
And I could never get on the train. You literally had to queue. You'd never get on the first one, potentially get on the second one, maybe the third one, and you were sardine. Like, now it's bad, but it was bad.
That's what to be honest, I'm kind of like, I'm not mad about that one.
Thank you.
Yeah,
but then I'm
exactly.
also like, sorry, if TFL can't function unless the trains are so packed, it's so uncomfortable that you're not even enjoying the experience you're paying for, is there then something wrong with TFL?
Well, I've always thought that like TFL will struggle because as population increases, it's cities are like, it's a massive problem for cities. So I'm like, really, you should be saying thank you.
I feel like our transport system is worse than any of the other cities I've been to. I've not travelled to many cities, if I'm being real. But when I think of like even Amsterdam, Paris, their transport system was way nicer.
Yeah, I think it's really old. Like, if you think of the underground, it was developed so long ago. And it is really genius in the sense of like, who thought to build underground? Like that's really genius. But because it's so old, actually the layout doesn't really make sense. And I have a few friends who are engineers, and they were talking to me about that, about like, actually, if you actually look at it, it really needs to be modernized. But anyways, and then the other thing that they were saying, so then they were actually brought up this point about morality. They were like, is it moral for people to have flexibility to work from home when nurses, train drivers, bus drivers who pay taxes and therefore contribute to the wages that we're getting, they don't have that choice? So is it moral to have a bill being put through to enable people to have more flexibility when there's people in society that have no choice? And that, I thought that was really interesting.
That's not my problem, bro. I'm like, that sounds like a you problem.
Cut the cameras.
It's peak. It is peak. And yeah, the system doesn't work because then no one would want to be nurses. They're not paid well. They're essential. Like, who hasn't needed a nurse in their life at some point or another? But I don't know. Why should everyone suffer and be unhappy?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like there was the guy who was the head of M&S. Like he's a conservative. I think, I don't know what his role is in conservative, but he's a conservative person. And he was saying like people need to get back into the office. It's absolutely ridiculous. Sorry, he doesn't even speak like that. But he was basically
I
like
like it.
really against working from home. And I think you should
Yeah.
watch it. It's really interesting. Like there's loads of different industries there. Like the music industry, there's this guy who's making people come in 3 days a week. And like one of his employees said, like, I'm actually more productive at home. And
Yeah.
then the guy was like, well, and he was saying, and I get more free time to like live my life. And then the interviewer was like, well, why should your employer care about your free time? Like they're not paying you for your free time, they're paying you for your working hours. And I was like, do you know what, it's really difficult.
It is
You know
hard.
what side of the fence I stand on, obviously.
Yeah.
But I found it interesting that there was a study done, and they found in terms of productivity, working from the office 5 days a week is not more productive than working from the office 3 days a week. So basically, the soft spot is 3 days a week. You don't want to do 5 days at home, and you don't want to do 5 days at work in terms of productivity.
I can
3 days
understand that.
is that ideal balance.
Yeah. No, I'm happy with that. I think that's fair because 3 days is enough that you have FaceTime with people and it matters. But then you've got those 2 days where you've got your evening, you've got a bit more time to yourself
Yeah.
and your morning.
I think it's okay. So now to our own personal opinions. I think one of the key things that they were discussing is about your career progression. Like the
Yeah.
M&S guy was saying, people will not progress as much if they don't go into the office. And I find that really interesting because I obviously worked from home mostly for like the first year, all from home because of COVID. And then it started being a bit more flexible, but still, I've never been into the office like more than 3 times a week, unless it was like a conference, like a weird week, but never out of choice. And I've still managed to progress, but I
Yeah.
think that that's because I stick my neck out and make it so that I can progress. And then I was like, but I also, the current manager that I have is in London. And I do think that it was those after work conversations that we had over a drink or over food or whatever that made her like me and want me on her team. So, what do you think about it?
It's so weird that you said that. We literally had that conversation yesterday at work.
Is it?
Because this woman wanted to go home. She's like really senior. And the other senior guy, she was like, right, I'm going to go home now. And he was like, no, you should stay out. He's like, you need to get to know the staff, like the people who are on the ground.
Yeah.
And I joked and I was like, best networking's done during working hours. You go home, love. Like, you go see your kids. and then she was like, no, I do agree. The best networking is done after hours. But it's true because people aren't thinking about work. You're just people. You're no longer, well, I don't feel like you're no longer employees of a business. You're just chatting about life, like what you're going to do tomorrow, what you're going to do with your weekend, what your hobbies are. I do agree. After work chats are really nice and you do get to really know people and that's where you form bonds.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no need to be in the office more than 3 days. I agree completely. And I actually think it's a really exciting opportunity. Like, what can you do with London on those other days? How can you utilize those spaces differently? I think it's exciting. But obviously it needs inventive people to come up with a solution.
Well, I was like, in London, there's so many free office spaces. Like, we have such a big housing problem.
Yeah.
Why not upgrade those buildings and turn them into houses? I mean, that's probably expensive in itself, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I think what I've also benefited from going into the office is knowing what the rest of my company is doing. Because obviously I know what my team is doing, but there's so many times where I'm in the office and someone says something and I'm like, oh, are you working on a project in Thailand? Like, me too. Like, let's discuss, which I would never have known about had I not overheard that conversation. Whoa, what the fuck happened to my hair? But yeah, I do think you need, which is actually really shocking for me because I think if had you asked me at the start of my career, I would have said different. But I don't think working from home 100% remotely is actually effective. I think you need to meet people in person.
Yeah.
Even if that's like a client now and again or a colleague now and again. Like maybe people don't have an office space or whatever. But I definitely think that it's good to have flexibility.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I think it depends on the career you're in. Obviously, I only have experience in one field. And in the field that I'm in, I think 3 days is perfect. And I do agree, like, it's really important. I'm so glad that I've ended up in the team that I have. But I can say that if I'd started out in this team and had come into the office as little as I do now, I would have way less strong connections with people across the business and across different teams.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad I had the opportunity to actually mingle and get to know people. Because it makes a massive difference. It's just nice, like, knowing a little bit about your colleagues, what they do, etc.
No, 100%. I think one of the interesting points as well is that there was a girl like our age on the show, and they were asking about what her opinion is, and she was like, I can't come into the office every day. Like, she was like, my social battery will be too low. And I was like, ugh, I actually hate our generation because I get it though. I do relate.
That's me.
But I'm just like, this is why older generations hate us, because we just sound like so sensitive and like, oh, I don't have a social battery. Like, what do you mean? Like, people go in every day. But I fully relate. Like, I'm not even judging her. But I was like, oh, I hate us.
Bruv, I don't know what happened to evolution, yeah? But our generation went downhill. And I don't want to be a part of it. Like, I want to be stronger. But physically, mentally, I am not.
I'm not.
Yeah. Those are my thoughts. I also just think it's essential for when people are training. So it's nice if you're training someone for you to be in. So yeah, a cheeky 3 days does it. And as you say, if I do any more, I'm going to be on the floor.
Yes. Exactly.
But what did the people say? Is everyone agreeing with us?
We asked, can remote workers be successful? And 95% of people said yes, of course. Only 5% said no.
Wow. I guess we didn't specify, but when we said remote working, we meant 5 days at home.
Yeah, maybe we should have specified.
Yeah, I feel like people think remote working is like hybrid.
Yeah, it's not. Two different things.
I think if we said like 5 days from home, the opinions would have been different.
Also, there's a difference between work from home, work remotely, and work in hybrid. Because remotely is anywhere. Home is your yard.
Yeah.
Hybrid is a mix.
Yeah, I think hybrid, 100%. Yeah, I agree with all of these people. But fully remote, I think on this, like, people are social beings. Mm-hmm. And I think people sell people. Yeah. Like, you can sell a product, but really what you're selling is yourself.
Yeah.
And I just think FaceTime is really important.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Completely agreed.
I'm still here for the government bringing in their bill or whatever they're doing. 10 out of 10.
I mean, I still think there should be flexibility. It wouldn't impact my job because of the nature of my company, but if I moved and they were trying to tell me to come in to the office every day, I would be absolutely screaming. First of all, get me a flat that's next to the office. Second of all, get me a masseuse, a therapist.
Yeah.
Like, girl, please.
When I was going to take that job, it was 5 days a week in the office. And I was here for it because I knew if I was going into that role, I'd need to learn loads of new skills. So actually being in the office was essential to pick up the skills quick enough. Mm-hmm. But yeah, therapist would have been needed without a doubt.
Yeah. But this is what I mean. Like, we're just such a snowflake generation. Like, what do you mean? People go in every day. My parents do like manual labor every day. Like, what am I talking about?
Mate, it's madness. It's actually madness. I'm so different to my older sisters. They're like, it's a job. Just go in, do it. You get paid, you leave. I'm like, but it's taking up my whole day. And they're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Like, yeah, obviously it's taken up your whole day. You're an adult.
Yeah. Oh, man. We'll never get over it.
That's why I'll never complain about work to my parents, because it's like, I have it so much easier than them. I'm so privileged. Like, it's a joke, actually.
I still struggle to comprehend that, but yeah, you're right.
Okay, so we asked for people's opinions on it, and someone said, from my experience, it's who you know, not what you know. So remote work isn't an option.
I hear it. I think this depends on the industry you're in. But obviously from my experience, definitely who you know is just as important as what you know, if not more.
But then I think like you can still do that in a remote world. Like if you're that bitch, you're that bitch. Like for example, when I was working remotely and my team wasn't in the UK, so there really was no reason for me to be in the office apart from seeing other people. I would like if I, for example, I went to Thailand on holiday. I met up with clients there. I was on annual leave, but I was like, this is a good way for me to like put my face out there. And now, 2 years later, I'm on a different team. I have a project in Thailand, and I use that contact who helped me, who's helping me in this project. So, like, I think if you're socially inclined, then you'll attend. Like, I definitely think you can't work from home and not go to conferences and not go to networking events and stuff. Like, you do have to get outside somehow. Or if you're in a remote place where you can't do that, like not in London, for example, then you need to set up meetings with people outside of your day to day, like find people on LinkedIn and still network that way, because this life is about who you know, like 100%.
I feel like you just made such a good point, because there's a girl in my team who, even though she's in the office 2 days a week, she keeps herself to herself. And like within the team, she's loved and she's so nice, but outside of the team, no one knows who she is.
Exactly.
And she's in the office.
Exactly.
So it's even though she's not in 5 days a week, it's still people don't know who she is. So I think, 100% you're right. It doesn't matter how much you're in per se. Obviously, it's still important. It does matter what kind of person you are. You're going to get up and speak to people and make an effort.
Yeah, because even in a tech role, for example, where you might not need to network as hard, it's still good to know people outside of your industry. One, if you come across an issue, like AI is coming, and I think it's good for people to start discussing of how their roles will change. But also, what if you want to move company? It's good to know people elsewhere. I don't know. That's how I roll personally.
Personally, I'm not rolling like Maggie, and no one should contact me on annual leave. But I hear it exists.
What else did people say?
Someone else said, I work 80% remote and get so much done. The one day I'm in the office is so toxic.
That is really interesting.
I've never thought about those toxic workplaces.
Yeah, there are toxic workplaces.
Yeah, like imagine you go in, the vibe is so bad, you feel like crap, you don't get any work done. But then again, what are you missing out on, like, in other companies? Like, is it still important for your industry that you get out there?
Yeah.
It's so tough. But if they're smashing it, then they're smashing it. And that's great.
It definitely depends. I didn't consider company culture.
No,
that
me
is
either.
important. If I had a shit company culture, I would not be put in any work.
No. But then I think it goes back to what you said in terms of you put the work in with people outside of your company, just within your industry. And you go to the conferences, the events, you get out, meet people for coffees, etc.
So someone else said, you're saving at least 2 hours a day wasted on travel, saving energy to be used elsewhere. That's the thing. It takes me an hour to get into work and an hour to get back, not including the amount it charges on my pocket, because TfL is expensive. And it's true. Although, in saying that, I do like the reading time that I get on the train. Like, it does force me to read.
Back into it.
You do. Oh, I have a wait. You like thrift? Yeah, you do. You need to. Have you read Verity? Have you spoken about this?
They're bringing out a movie.
Oh, are they?
Oh, yeah, they are.
Okay, we need to watch that.
I think it was like Anne Hathaway or someone says, I am watching that. Like, I am down. So excited. Yes. I don't know if it's this year or next.
Oh, so excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is. Especially if you have kids, 2 hours is a huge chunk of your day.
No.
Like.
No, I completely agree. And I know in this life you can't have it all. But boy, like a little bit of downtime at the end of the day should be yours. And I know employers say, yeah, but you chose where you live. You chose where you took the job. Maggie's light has just gone off. But they say you choose where you live, you choose where your job is. But at the end of the day, people who work in London are not paid. Most people, let's be real, are not paid enough money to live in London. So what? No one should work in London then.
Yeah.
So exactly. all your businesses should just go to shit because people can't afford to live near the office, so they shouldn't work here. Like, it doesn't make sense. Obviously, people are going to have to commute. People don't choose to live far out because they want to. Yeah, the areas are lovely and we have like a good sense of living, and like a sense of community. But no one wants to commute 2 hours. They do it because they can afford more for their money.
Exactly, 100%. It's like, and this was the other thing that was brought up as well, is that the guy who makes from the music industry, who makes people come in 3 days a week, he was like, I had to have words with people because about their working hours, that they have to be in from 9 till 5. And I'm like, fair. But also, if you're looking at the cost, if you travel at peak times, it's way more expensive. Like, I have people in my office who come in at like 11 because it means, one, they drop off their kids, two, they come in at off-peak times. So that means they save loads of money. Like, I do think flexible working is important.
I completely agree. I think you need certain hours of the day where everyone has to be online so you can communicate.
Yeah.
There doesn't necessarily need to be those full 8 hours. You can switch up a bit. And you need certain days of the week for some companies, teams, where it's relevant, where everyone is in the office.
Mm-hmm.
And those are your team days. And I think that will work effectively. But I'm so here for flexibility.
Yeah.
I think everyone's happier when they have a bit of flexibility. People are nicer. You enjoy your job more. It makes a massive difference.
It does.
We'll do one more and then we'll wrap up. We might even skip the dilemma this week, guys. Sorry, but it's a working day. Maggie's got a meeting and I need to do yesterday to do this that I left. So someone else said, yes, but it's harder. I saw a massive difference in the opportunities that came to me when I was seen in the office more than working remote. Got to make sure you're seen. Yeah, this is what you were talking about. I do agree.
Yeah, 100%. You do have to make sure you're seen by any means necessary.
Yeah, let's keep it positive though, guys. Don't do it me. But yeah, no, I entirely agree with everyone's point. I'm here for the flexibility. And I think I agree with what you said too, Maggie, in that, do you know what? You'll be successful if you want to make yourself successful. And there's different ways to go about it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. No, love that. Guys, I will round up this episode in this week's episode of Being a Dumb Bitch because your girl fucked up. And I'd just like to, I learned that the word preface is preface, or whatever it is.
Is it?
Is it preface? I never knew, like yesterday. I just like to preface this with the fact that I like to think I'm a really nice person. And genuinely, if I upset someone, it makes me so sad. I don't like upsetting people. Life is hard. I want to make sure people are happy and they feel loved, etc. Just put that out there, yeah.
What did you do?
So, I was speaking to my manager and he was like, I need you to call this person because we need some intel. And I was like, yeah, they're so nice. I love calling them. But when I call them, I'm on the phone for 45 minutes because we just get chatting. And they're a chatter and I'm a chatter. And I don't have 45 minutes. And he was like, no, I need you to call them. And I was like, all right, I'll call them. But it also meant I was missing out on the drinks that everyone else was on upstairs. But I do love talking to this person. So I'm chatting away to him. 30 minutes have passed. And I'm like, I still need to call the client too. And now the end of the day is done.
Oh.
So I forgot I was sharing screen.
Oh, God.
And I had Teams up. And it just so happened that Teams opened into the screen that I was sharing. And I typed to my manager, 31 minutes and counting, ... And the person I was on the phone to just went silent. And he was like, oh, okay. I felt awful. I felt like the worst person in the world. I'm still not over it. I feel terrible. And it wasn't even me saying that he's chewing my ear off. It was me saying, yeah, I told you I'd be on the phone for ages. But not just because of him. I love him. He's so nice. And he's so clever. And he always shares little insights with me to help me do better. And I just feel like the worst person in the world. I felt awful.
Ellie, that is so bad.
Yeah. I couldn't go over it. And then I went upstairs to my colleagues because they were all having fun upstairs. And I was like, guys, you'll never guess what I've done. I can't get over it. And they thought it was a client. So they were hand in your resignation now. But luckily it was internal. But I feel awful. I never want to upset people. I never want to disrespect people. And I'm like, okay, that was disrespectful, Ellie. So I had a word with myself. And I was like, nah, that came across really bad. You need to sort yourself out and be a better person. So that's my motto for next week.
But reflect. Did you address it or did you not?
Yeah, I was like, I should have addressed it in that way. I should have been like, yeah, sorry, I literally said to my manager I was going to call you and chew your ear off like I always do. But instead I was
good.
like, no, but I didn't
Oh.
say that.
Oh.
I
What did
was
you
like,
say?
sorry, he's going to chase me in a minute. So I was just letting him know. And then I
31
just,
minutes and counting.
yeah, I know, it couldn't have been worse. Dot, dot, dot.
It could have been worse. It could have been worse. You could have said like his name and been like still chatting or something.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it could have been worse.
it also could have been better.
It could have not happened.
It could have happened.
But yeah, felt like a terrible
Do you know
person.
what? You need to do you know when you sorry, a yawn just came at me.
Oh,
you
don't
know
worry,
when
girl, I'm
you
shouting to you.
yeah, man. You know when you share your screen, you can share the window or you
I
can share the whole
know.
screen.
Yeah, I know. I need to stop doing this. And it's not the first time it's happened. That's the first time it's happened when I was talking about someone. I felt awful. But it's happened in a client meeting before, ages ago, where like I was showing something, they asked a question, and I was like, shit, I don't know the answer. And I went to research it. Man.
Oh my god.
I've had some bad ones. But we'll round up the episode on that note, guys.
On that lovely note.
I hope you have a fantastic week and you don't make any mistake like I did. But if you do, please send them in to grownupspodcast@gmail.com or
DM us at Grown Ups Podcast.
bye.